Hi folks, and welcome to the channel. Welcome back and enjoy, I hope, another new video review. Now today something a bit more modern, a bit bigger, a bit more interesting perhaps, but I'm going to start by talking about the value of reference books. I think a lot of modelers try and get a reference book. It helps them with the paint schemes, with the interiors, details about how aircraft were modified, specific variants, little technical details here and there that you probably wouldn't find anywhere else. Now today's video is going to be about the Great Wall Hobby SU35S Flanker E, which is, as you can see by the fairly enormous box, it's a bit of a monster. Now, I actually received this as a gift 1 or 2 years ago, I think Christmas, and I haven't got around to building it yet, along with a lot of others. But I quite like it, so I don't give away too much already, but I quite like it, and you'll see why shortly. But first, I also got with this gift a second gift of this absolutely amazing book, which I shall zoom you in on if I can get our friendly camera to work today. There we go. So we'll move him out because he's going to create a lot of reflections. Here we go. Now then, so it's the SU27, 30, 33, 34, 35, basically the Flanker family. Now what is amazing about this book is its sheer size. This thing has got 720 pages, and to be honest, every time I pick it up I nearly pull my back out. It weighs about 2.5 kilos, 3 kilos. It's a big book. It's a real monster, but it's absolutely astonishing. Look at some of this. I'll bring you in a bit closer and you can have a real good look. Okay. So, basically it goes through the sort of history of the aircraft from the sort of basic concept back in the sort of late 60s, early 70s, and then how the aircraft has finally developed into this frontline Soviet, now Russian, fighter bomber. Obviously replacing in the air superiority role, it replaced the MiG-25, Foxbat and Fox-Hound MiG-31, and it's gone on to really become one of the most respected and kind of feared aircraft in the West, because it's got a lot of things going for it. It's got a very big wing area, it's got great control, a lot of manoeuvrability, so it can do many roles. And here's just, can't show the whole book, but just flash through. Shows the original design prototype drawings, and then how it develops later into these various variants. Engine testing. It's quite in depth. I mean, you won't find a better reference book really anywhere than this. I was absolutely stunned when I started just flicking through it, because it's almost like an encyclopedia on this aircraft range, and every marking, every variant, every application, the weapons, the avionics, the instrumentation, how the engines and the control surfaces operate, just absolutely amazing. Anyway, all the experimentation they did for carrier use. This is an aircraft that, of course, one of these variants gets used on the Admiral Kutuzov, the only Russian aircraft carrier that's serviceable these days. It's not very serviceable, by the way. It had a fire about 18 months ago and it's almost wrecked, and there's talk it might be scrapped, but that's another story. Thrust vectoring engines, how they were developed on the SU27M. And it just goes through, it keeps going through all these different versions, SU30, and the fullback, how you ended up with the fullback, which of course was the duck bill as they call it, 2-seater, which of course has seen a lot of action in places like Syria, not necessarily for the right reasons, but anyway, we won't get into that. But just amazing photos, you know. You couldn't have got a book like this, you know, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, because there's no way it would have been published behind the Iron Curtain. It's a masterpiece, frankly. So if anybody is interested in the Flanker family of aircraft, You've got to get this book. There is no peer to it. A lot of people I know have commented about this recently. When somebody asked a question on a live chat on a well-known modeller's website live show a few weeks ago on YouTube, and they said, what is the best book for the Flanker range? And I was actually typing that this is the best book. Somebody actually beat me to it, and it's by Yefim Gordon and Dmitriy Komissarov, and this is the definitive book you need. Anyway, we're moving on. That is going to be very helpful when I come to build the model, but let's have a look at the kit. What have we got? First of all, the box artwork is absolutely amazing. It looks like it's flying over the... It's not the Kremlin, but it looks like very similar. It's like some Soviet Orthodox church building in the background, and all snow everywhere. You know, what else? So let's crack it open, see what we got. Oh, it's a big one. It's a monster, it really is. There we go. Oh, stay there. Yeah, no, yeah. Right, now then. Now I've never built a Great Wall hobby before, so it's new to me. But people do seem to speak very highly of them indeed. So let's have a look. Oh, now then. Look at this. So first of all, you've got this reinforced protected box partly around what is the upper and lower fuselage. I'm going to pull it out so you can have a proper nose at it. Now then, let's have a close look at this. So we've got the whole upper surface to avoid any seams and any nasty join lines down the spine. It's all in one piece. And I've got to say that that's the same underneath as well, pretty much. Look at that, it's two screws. Let's take them off. So this is the lower one with the tails. It's wow, I mean it's Tamiya quality. There's a lot of panel detail and riveting, access hatches. You can see these well here. That's incredible. So fine. That's incredible. Really good. Oof. I mean, you're almost lost for words when you look at it, because it's one of the finest bits of moulding I've seen for a long time. And there's a lot of good kits out there at the moment, of course. There's no flash on here. A little bit of flash on some of the gate, but not on the parts. Then you've got the tail planes here, movable tail planes. You can see that they've got like a pin, expanding pin type socket pin arrangement, which of course will help it to plug in and then stay in place. Same on that one. Then we've got these tails. Wow, it's a lovely sprue. Look at this one. This is the top, which is going to be even better, isn't it, when we get close to it. Excuse me, I'm just going to zoom you back slightly. Hey, look at this. That's fine. Oof. Look at the flap detail. That's really impressive. This is right up there with Tamiya and Zokimura, I think, for quality. Jeez. You've got the coving on the front of the cockpit instruments. It's just nice, it's one piece, and there's no warping or anything there. That's beautiful. It's almost too good to build, isn't it? Let's put that back together, if I can. He says, it is like that. So Putting it back in the bag, it's going to change, isn't it? There we go. Always feels a bit like a quick fill factor when we try to do that. That's impressive, isn't it? The way that they've produced this with this protective box stroke bag arrangement, that's really good, you know. Yeah, it's quite refreshing. You know, there's none of this Revell stuff where they all throw it together in a great big bag. Let's see how many parts you can get into a single bag. Ruin everything, scratch it all, you know. No. So, moving on. Look at this. Oh. Yeah, I haven't opened these. Some of these bags I haven't opened at all. It's the first time I've been into it. So, oh, now then, look at this. Wow. Look at this. Look at the tyres. That's absolutely beautiful moulding. There's no seam line, and yet they've got the sort of radial treads that are on the tyres. That is absolutely mind-blowing. And here, in the actual cockpit itself, a bit of the tub that's the instruments around the pilot. Look at the detail on that. That's absolutely incredible. Do you know what? This is as good as it gets. I don't think I've seen anything better. It's almost like resin the way it's. I've got to be careful. I'm putting my fingers on some very delicate parts. It's like resin. The detail is so fine, and there's no nasty seam marks. I mean, I was probably saw the video the other day of the Mission 262 from Revell, which was really nice. Because a big step forward for them. But even that, as good as it is, that's not up to the standard. Because there were some very fine seam lines here and there, but this undercarriage like nothing. Look at that. It's breathtaking. It's very impressive. Yes. I think this is going to be very, very nice to build. If it builds even half as good as it looks, it should be a masterpiece, and it's a real pleasure. Go on, here we go. One. What's next? Oh, I've got a load of intakes. I won't bother opening this one. Intakes and trunking. We've got the nose, which looks. See, you've got a full nose piece, not like our friends at Revell with the Tornado or the F15E, where you always end up with a seam. A slide moulded, separate, unique piece for the nose. So that means that you're not going to get those issues with seams. So that's brilliant. Very nice. And there's another quite a large deep bag this time, and this is for the engines. I'm going to open this one because we need to have you open it. It's a puzzle. Okay, ready. Getting back into the fun. Now look at this. Look at these slide moulded sections here. This is the jet nozzles, jet pipe at the back. Now then. Now that is something else. That is so nicely done. And because of the way it's moulded, again, no seam, you see. It's completely seam free. Absolutely incredible. Two of those. So we've got this. This is the intakes. Again, there's so much fine stuff on here. Look at that. Oh yes, yes, yes. It's so well done. And you know, they've obviously gone to a lot of thought about this because it's not efficient or cheap or easy to mould it in this fashion. Look at this sort of big, wide open, empty sprue with just these two parts on it only. So that's been done because they want it to be right, and they want it to be seam free and, you know, fault free. So hats off to them for that. And then we've got a couple of screws that are the same, and in this case it's all the engine parts. So we've got the afterburner rings, which you can see here. Intake, the impeller, fan blades, and then here afterburner rings, and then the again slide motor. Look at this, the nozzle, the internal parts of the nozzle. Look at that moulding. That's amazing. Wow. And then you've got the external petals. Yeah, I'm not sure I prefer it being done this way. It reminds me of Revell a bit, that. But so much more nicely executed than Revell. And then you've got all your pylons here. So many pylons for all the weapons. And there's two of those. So that's that one. Then we've got float openers, which is a lot of very fine parts. Look how tiny these are. Very small. Look at that. Ugh. Tiny components. I mean, these are the sort of things you don't want to drop because you were looking for them. Carpet Monster will have them, and you'll be looking for them for about 10 years. It's really fine stuff going on there. It's got all wiring for the instrumentation here. It's really impressive. And then, yeah, you've seen already. So we need to somehow get those back in there, which I'll sort later. And then finally, we've got a couple of screws that we've got clear parts, which I won't take out or dry. Yes, I will. Let's have a look. Now then, let's have a good look at this. Now there is, I don't know if you can see it there on the camera, but there is a sensor line, mould line, which is unfortunate. It's on the front and the back, on both front here. Can you see that on the camera? I think you can, yeah, you can see it just about there, can't you? Seam line right down the centre, and at the front as well. So that's a little bit beautifully formed though. I mean the moulding and the actual clarity. The shadow on that actually, is that a mark? Is that might be a little mark from where it's been in the packet, I don't know. A little bit of a polish. But yeah, it's just beautifully formed. Very crisp and clear, and it's sort of sorry, I've seen the camera in too much. It's very crisp and it's very clear. It's just that centre seam slightly disappoints, but other than that, fabulous because the clarity's great. And it looks like glass. It really does. Let's put a little bit of a polish. A couple tiny scuff marks on it. That hasn't been out before, so that's not from my end. Now then, finally, weapons. Oh, look at this. Weapons. Now then, this is where everybody raves about this. So this is the slide moulding, which is something that Great Wall hobbyists seem to be doing really nicely. Most uniquely so. Just look at this. It's got the open fins for the rockets. Very nicely done. No seam. Or is there a bit of a seam? There is actually a seam. There is actually a seam, isn't there? Yeah, there isn't that anyway. Let's just have a look at these. air-to-air missiles. Here we go, some really hulking looking missiles. Yeah, there is a mould seam, despite the slide moulding. That is beautifully moulded though. I mean, the detail is absolutely breathtaking. Look at that. Look at the jet end of tailpipe. It's incredible. So nice. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 sets of these which are not quite the same. There's a small air-to-air missile. It's like a it's almost like a sparrow. That's the one I'm thinking of, not the sparrow. It's the other one. Americans have air-to-air. Not Fire Street, it's British. My memory's gone. I can't think of the name of the damn thing. It reminds me completely. Anyway, this one, you know what I mean when you see it. He says, get the camera to focus today, it'd be nice, there we go. Sparrow, no. What are we thinking of, chaps? Come on. It looks quite like the Sidewinder, that's the word I'm looking for. Sidewinder. It's a bit like the Sidewinder, isn't it? Anyway, it's all very nice. I got some flexible masks. Oh, yeah, I got some. I think these are part of my gift as well. I got some nice, beautiful flanker colours. Look, oh, MiG flanker colours. What more could you want? Brilliant. And a flexible mask. Edward. And then instructions. It's on a nosy. So there's oh yeah, I forgot the decals. I'll get those as well. Let's go back a bit so you can see what's going on. There we go. Decals. Now then. These are nice. These are very nice. They look really thin. Made in China. Research by Mr. Gabor Zakaris. Okay. Interesting stuff. I won't open those, but they look very nice. And here's your biggest problem with this kit. The stencils. It's going to take about a year. These are dramatic. And there is a lot of them. Yeah. You know you're in trouble when you see the word, the digits, stencil number 98. You know you're in big trouble. It's great, isn't it? Look at that. Yes. Very, very nice. So that'll keep me busy, out of trouble, I think. Then we've got the colour call outs, and it calls out for the MiG. Oh, okay, that's why I got given the MiG as the gift then. So it calls out for the MiG range of colours, and you've got a choice of 1, 2, 3 different marking versions. Very, very nice. And then the instructions. Let's have a look at the instructions. Now then, maybe we should have started with this really. Now the one problem you have with Great Wall Hobby, everybody tells me, is that before you assemble the kit, you have to assemble the instructions, which is interesting. They don't come in any particular order. There's no staples, it's just like a load of sheets that are sort of stuck in. All Great Wall Hobbies are like this, I understand, which is great, isn't it? It's just, don't get mixed up, keep them in order, otherwise you're going to get confused. Anyway, it starts off with all your cockpit details, and then it swings on to building the tub, and then building the tailplanes, rather than anything jump there. Then we've got, this is where it gets completely confusing because I'm not sure which way around this is supposed to be. We got the building the pilot's ejection seat and then the instrumentation all rounded. Then the coving and the cockpit assembly. The interior for all of the undercarriage sections, and then it gets into the wings and the intakes for the engines, and then all the coving and those attachment areas around those parts. This is like a magical mystery tour, I've got to be honest. Yeah, I think it's the only thing I don't like about this kit. I think the instructions are just ridiculous. And it does put me off other Great Wall hobbies because I know they're all the same. So it's not unique to this one, it's just something very weird they do. Great Wall Hobby, please get your act together on the instructions, guys. I've never seen anything like it really. It's not quite as bad as, what's the other one, the guys that did the Tomcat recently? Is it SMK? Yeah, that's another story where they have about one page with about 100 parts going on in one page. Anyway, underside, putting on your tanks, building the engines, and you can see here that we've got the afterburner rings and all the jet pipes at the back. Then we build the tail planes and the tails, vertical stabilisers. Then you get onto the fitting those engines in, and hello, notice this is not part of the plane. This is a localizer assist in assembling the formation lines. It's not part of the plane. Oh, I see. It's there's like a PE. It's kind of like a template, I think. That's what they're talking about here. See it? Bit of a template, and the idea is that you use it for where to spray up the lights that are on the on the tips of the wings. Anywho, it's that bit. Then I don't know where to go next. It's all over the place, isn't it? Why can't they just staple it together so we know which is which? That's just mad. Crazy. Obviously, whoever designed the instructions wasn't the same person that designed the kit, I don't think. Anyway, but then we've got the we seem to have got the wings all glued on now. I didn't see that. I must have missed a bit. Did I miss a bit? Oh yes, I did. Yeah, building the undercarriage assemblies. Those parts look absolutely beautiful, I've got to say. They're so nicely moulded. They look resin. Fantastic. And then fitting them underneath. Then we put those tanks on, and then we put, okay, so we saw that part. This is like a very strange maze I'm going through at the moment. Anyway, you get the basic plane assembled, and then you put on your wheels or your wheelbase covers. Retracted undercarriage. Canopy goes on, ejection seat goes in, and then finally all of those impressive weapons go in. And you've got many, many different options. So we've got it's mainly air-to-air rockets, so it's really aimed at being the multi-role fighter, air superiority fighter version. Okay. Yeah, I don't like the instructions as much as I like everything else, it has to be said. They're completely mad, frankly. And then I just realised this is actually a correction page, not part of the instructions. It's where they realised they fouled it up in several areas. Okay, anyway, we won't make a fuss about that. And then it shows on the outside, should be the cover, it shows the sprue trees and what all the parts are, etc, etc. Right, so interesting. It's not quite as bad as AMK's instructions, but it's not far off. Yeah. I've got to say, for such a beautiful plastic, I mean, there's no getting away from this. I think this is easily as good as Tamiya's finest, or Zokimura. It's so fine. Some of the parts are just mind-blowingly well moulded. It's just, when you put a wash on it and you've painted it up, it's gonna look absolutely mind-blowing. it'll be a fantastic model when it's finished. And it's very imposing, an aircraft with real pros. Anyway, I would say I give it a big thumbs up. Hate the instructions, absolutely love everything else. Marvellous thing. And if I can just figure out how to put it together, I think one day when I've got room, well, that's another problem. But anyway, I would recommend it. I think that just based on, you know, yeah, they're not cheap, are they? They're quite expensive kits. You know, it's a bit wing sort of pricing. But you can see why it's really, really excellent. And you know, there's been no expense spared on the design or the moulding. The tooling must have cost an absolute fortune. But anyway, there we go. So that's it. It is our box cover. So that might help as well. There we go. So it's the flanker, the SU35S Flanker E, which is like the ultimate flanker fighter. Hope you enjoyed the review. Hope you found it interesting. Certainly recommend the item to you, and stay tuned for more videos coming up soon with more reviews and other comment, including looking at some other books and things like that. So please come back soon, and in the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy. Look forward to seeing you in the near future. Thanks a lot. Bye for now.